The key to sustainable leadership lies in the ability to thrive in uncertainty, ambiguity, and change. Grand Heron International brings you the Coaching Assistance Program, giving your employees on-demand coaching to manage through a challenging situation and arrive at a solution. Visit grandheroninternational.ca/podcast to learn more.
This podcast is part of the C-Suite Radio Network, turning the volume up on business.
Welcome to the Keep Leading Podcast, a podcast dedicated to promoting leadership development and sharing leadership insights. Here's your host, the Leadership Accelerator, Eddie Turner.
Okay, we are live. So I want to say hello, everyone. Welcome to Keep Leading Live. Keep Leading Live, like the Keep Leading podcast, is dedicated to leadership development and insights. I'm your host, Eddie Turner, the Leadership Accelerator. I work with leaders to accelerate performance and drive impact through the power of facilitation, executive and leadership coaching, and professional speaking. Today, we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook as we do every Monday at 1:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please let us know you're here. Drop a note in the comment section so that we know you're here. In fact, already, before I can even get started, it looks like David Banks has joined us. David Banks has joined from YouTube. Thank you, David, for joining. And letting us know you're here. So please, if you're here with us, do like David. Let us know you're here. Tell us where you're from. And if you have a question for my esteemed guest today, please don't hesitate to let us know what your questions are. If you're not already following Vincent Phipps and myself, please do so on social media and hit the like button. Hit the like button, share with your friends, open up another browser window, share with your friends so they can join and be a part of this as well. All right. And it looks like, wow, I can't even get through the introduction. And here we go. We got Uncle Wayne coming. I guess that's your Uncle Wayne.
He's everybody's Uncle Wayne, Eddie.
All right. He's everybody's Uncle Wayne. Wayne Brown in Chattanooga has joined us. Thank you very much. And we also have Liam Gowan from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for joining and being a part of this broadcast. All right. We're off to a great start already.
I'm trying to bring it to you, Eddie.
I see. Okay, fantastic. So, yes, share this with your friends. Let them know that they can come and be a part of today's show live. This is a live stream, but it will also be a podcast that we release in another 2 months or so, where you can play this on a regular podcast wherever you download your podcasts. Now, let me tell you about today's special guest, who I'm super excited about. I met my guest today at one of the National Speakers Association's conferences. He has a personality that is larger than life. I mean, he truly lights up every room he walks in, and he keeps you laughing. And so I can't even talk about him without laughing myself. I did not know he had a book. And I saw recently that Vincent has a book. And the title of the book is Lead Out Loud. I had two reactions. The first reaction was, I wish I had thought of this title. The second reaction was, I must get him on Keep Leading Live. And so my special guest today is the amazing Vincent Phipps. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Vincent Phipps. Vincent has a passion for amplifying the lives of others by improving their interpersonal communication skills. Vincent seeks to engage his audiences as the Attitude Amplifier, using his high energy, expertise, and interactive style. Vincent is distinguished with having earned the highest speaking credential in the speaking industry. He is a certified speaking professional, better known as a CSP with the National Speakers Association, and he's rated one of the top 1% of the best motivational speakers and trainers in the world. So I am just thrilled to have with me today, Vincent Ivan Phipps. Welcome to Keep Leading Live.
Oh, Eddie, brother, man, can I just have you travel with me? Just let me take you alone, brother. That was fantastic. Oh, thank you, Eddie. And for those that do not know, let me share with you, Eddie, a congratulations, because you too are now a recipient of the CSP certification. So congratulations to you too, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. But I'm not listed as the world's number one motivational 1% motivational speakers.
I'm honored, sir. I'm honored. I don't know how they do the algorithm, but I'm not going to argue with them.
Hey, I love it, man. Congratulations. Now, I got to let people know, I'm excited to have you, and we're going to have a good time today. I had no idea you were wearing red. I'm wearing red. This was not coordinated, but
red and blue.
Yeah, red and blue. Because this is a blue shirt. The camera doesn't show it as well. So I don't want folks thinking some kind of secret code. It just happened.
No, if the code is excellent and valuable to others, that's the code.
Man, I've been on calls all day, started in Africa early this morning, and we're making our way over here with you. So tell us about the book. Well, I am all about leadership. This is the Keep Leading podcast. And I love the concept of leading out loud. Where did that come from?
Well, I appreciate you asking, sir. This is the copy of the book, Lead Out Loud, and it constitutes an ideology of how I view leadership when I do my workshops, coaching, or my keynotes, Eddie. When most people think of a leader, they think of the biggest voice in the room, or the largest personality, or the one who is the most charismatic, or the person who is the most polished. And those are leadership misconceptions. Behavioral science will tell us that 54% of the population are not even extroverts. They're introverted people. And being a person who is outgoing, upbeat, and energetic, they may associate that with leadership. But the truth is, Eddie, leadership has nothing to do with how loud you are or how big your ego is. If you have the title of a manager, somebody else gave you that title and they have to follow you because of a positional status. But when you are a leader, people have to choose to follow you. And there's nothing you can do to make them choose. They have to make that decision on their own. And when you lead out loud, your actions are what shows other people. It is what you do, how you treat people, how you answer questions, how you deal with tough times. And even though you may be a quiet in your demeanor person, or you may be outgoing, when you lead out loud, your actions, your leadership attributes, that's what people recognize. So you can be a quiet person or an outgoing person, but when you lead with authenticity, you'll always lead out loud.
Outstanding. So you don't have to be an extrovert to be able to lead out loud. Anyone can lead out loud.
Absolutely, sir. Anybody. And what people are afraid to do is to accept those positions of leadership. They think they need a title or a certain number of years of experience. And when your actions are enough that you don't have to say as much, that makes you an even more effective leader. And people will distrust what you say, but they have to respect what you do.
I like that. Very good. Lauren Sanders has just joined us. She agrees with you. She says, so true.
Woo, thank you, Lauren. Right. Lauren said it. Woo, thank you, Lauren. Lauren said that. Wow, saying wow. Thank you, Lauren.
And
hello, John.
John Bentley has joined us. John says hello. So hello to you, John. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that.
John is a dear friend out of Alabama, Eddie, and he is one of the people who have had the honor of working with in the Pro Speakers Kit program. And John also has his own keynote in the professional speaker, transform. Help me out, John. Transform to live. Is that right, John? Live. He'll get it right. It's transforming. He is authentic in terms of his leadership, a phenomenal speaker. I've had the honor of doing events with John, and he is fantastic.
Wonderful.
Transform to inspire. Got you, John.
You got it. Excellent. So why is it important right now more than ever, Vincent, for leaders to lead out loud from wherever they are, no matter who they are?
What we're dealing with right now, including COVID-19, including the inundation of social media, and also being in a transition of uncertainty with our economy and with our professionalism, Eddie. What people need to do is they need to value that it's better to be accountable than it is to be likable.
Mm. Better to be accountable than likable.
Yes, sir. People are too afraid of telling the truth, hurting people's feelings, or giving someone constructive criticism. So they try to keep everything vanilla. They don't want anything rocky. They don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. So we've developed a very copacetic, don't make anybody mad mentality. Power to transform. Thank you, John. And as a result, people aren't leading. Leaders aren't always saying what you want to hear. Leaders don't always say things that are popular. Leaders don't even say the things that make you feel good. Look at our most revolutionary leaders, such as our John F. Kennedys, our Malcolm X's, our Dr. King, our Barack Obamas. They said some pretty controversial stuff, but they meant it and they followed with authenticity. And what people are missing right now, Eddie, is that people are too afraid to be authentic and to stand up for something. So everything is neutral. Leaders don't always just go neutral. They pick a side. They're clear that they want people to be respected no matter what your race or color. They want certain people to make more money no matter how much experience you have. What we need to do as leaders right now is to forget about how many likes or clicks we get. Forget about how many thank you cards we get.
Except for today. Right now, I'm very concerned about the number of likes and clicks.
What people need to do, Eddie, is to be okay with taking a stand. Be accountable. Stand up for what you believe. And if it offends people, let them be offended, but don't bend your will or change your ideology because someone disagrees. Have the integrity to stand up what you believe. That's what a leader. Don't always try to be likable, be accountable.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a question really quick from David Banks. We have a couple of questions. Thank you all, by the way. We have a couple of questions in the queue here. I may not get the rest of my questions. We're going to take everybody else's question. Seriously. So the question we have here is from David Banks. He says, how does a leader find their voice? Thank you for that. It's a great question, David.
Thank you, Dr. Banks. And it's Dr. David Banks. He's also with the city of Chattanooga, and he has his own company of Noble Kings. So please follow Dr. Banks on your social media. The way that you find your leadership voice, Dr. Banks, is you have to have a philosophy. And here's the philosophy I recommend to all leaders incorporate. Passion over profit. I'm going to say that again. You have to put your passion over profit. In other words, you can't make your motivation just money. You can't just try to get that check or try to get out there and get paid. That's not the way leaders should operate. You need to operate from a place of authenticity and passion and being true to who you are. If you believe that people should work their butts off, then work your butt off. If you believe that cold calling works, then you should be cold calling. If you believe that kicking indoors is the way to do it, then kick indoors. But you can't say that you don't want to do anything that could hurt somebody's mental health, and then you want to go and speak at a group that says, say what you want and cuss people out. You've got to be consistent in your leadership. When you put your passion first, whatever it is you want to get paid to do, you should be doing that anyway. Leaders need to be demonstrating the excellence, not just demanding it of others. Leaders need to first demand it of themselves. Don't look at the money you can earn. Look at the motivation that you can earn. Don't look at the profit that you could generate. Look at the passion that you emulate. These are the things that we need to do as leaders. It's not about how much you can make. It's about how much greatness you can create. That's what leaders need to do.
Outstanding. Well, thank you very much. I'm talking to the amazing Vincent Ivan Phipps. He is the Attitude Amplifier. And Vincent, I saw a post that you had earlier where you said that there would be no PowerPoint, no script, and no commercials. I was agreeing with everything you had on there. Check, check, check. But there are going to be some commercials. I got to pay some bills.
Okay. Gotta pay them bills, sir. Gotta pay them bills, Eddie.
So with that in mind, I am going to transition here, and I want to tell people about a couple of amazing folks. You know, one of my longtime sponsors who I absolutely appreciate and value is the amazing folks over at Grand Heron International. The key to sustainable leadership lies in the ability to thrive during uncertainty, ambiguity, and change. Grand Heron International brings you the Coaching Assistance Program, giving your employees on-demand coaching to manage through a challenging situation and arrive at a solution. Visit grandheroninternational.ca/podcast to learn more. And someone else who I'd like to tell you about. Now, this is a friend of the show. This is not a paid sponsorship, but this is a friend of the show who I very much enjoy. So I want to tell you about the good folks over at Good Pods. The good folks at Good Pods. Now, many folks enjoy Goodreads, the world's largest site for readers and book recommendations. Their mission is to help people find and share books they love. Well, now there's Good Pods, the social app brought to you by the former MSNBC host of Your Business, JJ Ramberg, and her brother Ken. Their mission is to help people find and share podcasts they love. Visit goodpods.com to learn more. We'll have more right after this.
This podcast is sponsored by Eddie Turner, LLC. Organizations who need to accelerate the development of their leaders call Eddie Turner the Leadership Accelerator. Eddie works with leaders to accelerate performance and drive impact. Call Eddie Turner to help your leaders one-on-one as their coach, or to inspire them as a group through the power of facilitation or a keynote address. Visit EddieTurnerLLC.com to learn more.
This is Valda Ford. I am the Chief Executive Officer of ValdaFord.com, and you're listening to the Keep Leading podcast with Eddie Turner.
All right. So with that, we are back. I am talking to Vincent Ivan Phipps, CSP. He is the Attitude Amplifier, and he has brought the heat. Oh my goodness. There are so many questions in here. I literally am not going to get to all mine.
That's why we're in red.
We're going to just take all audience questions from the rest of the way. And, very kind, Mrs. Landrum. She says, my dad will be proud. Thank you, Mrs. Landrum. And then we have a question that's come in to you from Deborah Levine. Deborah says, what do you say to introverts who are also leaders and wonder how to manage the public visibility that goes with it?
Wonderful question. See, that's that Harvard question, Eddie.
So she's got the right man. Go for it.
Oh, well, I'm honored. Here's the thing, Deborah. As introverts, we need to understand the difference between situational extroversion. With situational extroversion, you have to pick the time and place to be extroverted. Unfortunately, the ideology of the squeaky wheel gets the oil. There is some truth to that. You need to speak when there's need, not when there's opportunity. As an introvert, for you and for 54% of the population who are introverted, you want to look for opportunities where you can incite new information. Don't just disagree or don't just agree. For an introvert, bring up intriguing questions that will lead you to the point that you want to aspire to. As an introvert, introverts often have the advantage of listening because of their nature. They're not just blurting stuff out like a lot of the extroverts. So when you hear a continual point being addressed that's been argued or disputed, look for a foundational point that people can agree upon, then ask a question about that element. Have some ideas, have some suggestions about how to transfer or how to inspire and transform and progress a current thought to a new development. Extroverts will listen to you more when you give them a chance to think bigger. So don't just agree or disagree. As an introvert, listen to the key thought that's being said, then find a way to add information or to ask a question to advance an ideology. That's the key of an introvert being more extroverted in an environment full of big mouths.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is a question or a comment, but Uncle Wayne says, what gave you the confidence to believe that you could be the top 1% in your profession? What audacity. Yeah, it's just more of a comment.
Is that a question or is that some haterade? well, Uncle Wayne, two things, Uncle Wayne. Number one, and I love Uncle Wayne. For those that are unaware, Uncle Wayne also is Wayne Brown. His company is Bridging the Gap. He works with a lot of veterans who are transitioning from military life that may suffer from PTSD to get back to civilian life. So thank you for all that you're doing, Uncle Wayne. First, Uncle Wayne, I never said I'm the top 1%. There is an algorithm that is used by a professional service for speakers that's called e-speakers. And they ask you to list your topics, people give recommendations, they ask you to put videos, and they have a systematic ranking on your top 5 categories. And mine being communication, presentation, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and motivation. Of those 5 topics, they listed me in the top 1% in 4 of those 5. They changed the algorithm based on how many times you're booked or who says comments about you. So I don't say that. I'm honored that eSpeakers does.
All right. Excellent. By the way, on your answer to Deborah Levine, she says, thank you. She
Oh,
needed that and that it
oh,
was beautiful.
thank you, Deborah, for asking. You are too kind.
There's a question that we have that has come in also from John Bentley. John's question is, what one skill or attribute should an emerging leader focus on developing?
Wow.
That
Well,
actually was one of the questions I had prepared for you as well.
see this whole leadership odyssey.
There
It's
you
all
go.
culminating. It's all culminated, Eddie. The best attribute that I would recommend, John, for an emerging leader to develop is to be a continual learner. If you find anybody that's good at anything, chances are they're practicing all the time. They're reading books on it all the time. They're going to webinars or seminars or they're practicing. The best way to be a leader is to do 2 things, John. The first is be humble enough to know that there's always more to know. Number 2, be tenacious enough to learn more information to not just support what you know, but find out where other people's problem points are and find ways to provide additional value. When you can be a continual learner and you can be open enough to receive new information, these are the attributes that will not only make you an effective leader, it'll make you an effective person.
All right. Very good. We're coming up to close to our wrap up. So we're going to take a couple of quick questions. Here's one that came in from Alethea. Alethea says, how can you learn to have the courage to speak out loud when it is uncomfortable while leading?
Oh, thank you, Melissa. Thank you. I know we're running short on time, Eddie, so I'll make this one quick. If you want more detail, just let me know. To be more comfortable speaking out loud, I'm assuming you mean just in the presence of others, not necessarily on stage. When you talk about having the courage to speak out loud when you're uncomfortable while leading, focus on doing 2 things, Melissa. Number 1, replace any adjectives with quantifiable data. So stop saying words like sorta, maybe, usually, all the time. Do some research and say 54% of the population, or according to our studies they've shown. That way you don't have to feel like that the eyes are on you. You're just disseminating new information. Second thing you want to do to be more comfortable is you have to value what you share. Don't worry about the criticism others may give you. That's their issue. Don't make it your own. If you've done the research, you've done the homework, you put in your due diligence, take pride in knowing that what you have to share will bring value to others, and to say it with authenticity and integrity. Speak up, raise your volume, eye contact, and let them have it. If they dislike it, that's their issue, not yours. We're proud of what you say.
Excellent. We're going to take 2 more, and then we'll have to follow up with everyone else. Jose says, happy Monday, Eddie and Vincent. Happy Monday to you as well, Jose. Agreed on standing for something firmly. People want to hear their represented in their views. What other ways to position yourself as an authority and leader?
Thank you, Jose. Jose was a former member of my team. Jose now is a coach for financial experts that want to find that dream girl. So go to the DaVita Coaching when you are able. What you want to do, Jose, is to position yourself as a leader. You want to do 2 things, Jose. The first is identify who is your primary demographic. If everybody's your client, no one is. Be specific. Go specifically after who you feel needs your product or service. The second thing is you got to listen to them. Don't just go in thinking you have all the answers because of your experience or your outcome or your degrees or any training you have. Ask them questions such as, what's your biggest challenge right now? What is the area that you need the most information. How can I bring you additional value? Listen for what their problems are, then create solutions, create programs, create presentations, create coaching models just on their problems. That way, you not only come across as informative, you come across as valuable because you've identified their problem, and most importantly, you have a solution for it. That's how we identify ourselves as experts and leaders, by not being general, but by being specific.
Wonderful. And LJ Crawford says she values what you share. That's powerful, Vincent.
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa is also a dear friend. She is also one of the graduates of Pro Speakers Kit. Check out LJC Motivations on your social media. She is a customer service expert. When it comes to these elements, this is always an honor. And also, do what Eddie's doing. Talk to other professionals. Talk to other leaders. Be the go-to person when they need one. So thank you, Eddie.
And Leah likes what you said about continual learning. And our final question is going to come from Cordell Carter. Cordell Carter says, hello, Eddie and Vincent. Hello, Cordell. During this unique time in human history, what strategies do you suggest for leaders seeking to amplify their voice, platforms, and products?
Thank you, Cordell. Cordell is the director of Aspen Institute, which is a think tank that has webinars and seminars all over the world for professional speakers. So thank you, Cordell, for allowing me to be your speaker. Here's what we need to do, Cordell. When you want to amplify your voice and your platforms and products, you want to be able to do the following. Number one, know that what you have to share is valuable. Most people have doubts. They don't believe that they're making a difference, and they question the authenticity of what they're offering. So whether you are selling a glass of lemonade, whether you're selling a new car or a new service, you got to identify that it has value to the world. And number two, the best way to improve your presentation skills, you gotta practice. You have to be okay with not being okay. Be okay with being criticized and critiqued. Video record yourself. Play it back. Don't worry about messing up. Know that the first step of greatness is to fall. But the improvement comes when you have the courage to get back up. So don't be afraid to turn on a microphone or to walk in front of a crowd or to leave a voicemail. You have to do it before you can do it better.
Indeed. I believe it was Mandela or someone, I'm not sure exactly who said it. He said, don't judge me by how many times about how much I've succeeded. Judge me by how many times I've fallen and gotten back up.
You better say it. Say it, Eddie. Man, hey, man. Everybody says, great idea. Say, you didn't hear about the last lousy 7 ideas.
That's it. That's it.
Be okay with messing up. Leaders aren't afraid to fail. Leaders have the courage to fail, but keep going.
I always like to ask my leaders on the Keep Leading podcast and on Keep Leading Live for the leadership quote or the best piece of advice they've ever received. What's the best quote or advice you've ever received?
That would have to come from my father, Vincent Phipps. And he gave me a life lesson when I had a box of 20 chicken McNuggets. They gave me 21 nuggets. And he made me take back that extra nugget, Liam. And I told him that it wasn't our fault. They messed up, not us. And my father told me the life lesson I'd like to share with you and all of your listeners. Doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing can be different. The key is the hard thing and the right thing are usually the same thing.
All right. I appreciate that. And where can my listeners learn more about you, Vincent?
Please feel free to follow me on my YouTube channel at Vincent Phipps. You can also connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, also under Vincent Phipps. And please visit my website at vincentphipps.com. We have monthly newsletters that we send out on continual education, on communication, motivation, leadership, or conflict resolution. So on any of your social media streams, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at vincent@vincentphipps.com. If you want to improve your public speaking skills, you can go to my website at noums.com. Want to stop sounding dumb? Stop saying You can also call me at 423-400-1040.
Oh, gosh. I've never laughed so much doing an episode.
And not one Eddie, not one
Okay.
No. You know what? Edit that out. Edit that out, Eddie. If I have not had a chance, Eddie, you have had some all-stars on here, Eddie. For those that do not know, Eddie has had on speakers who are millionaire roundtable speakers. They are best-selling authors. Eddie has had on speakers who have had their certified speaker professional designations. He's even had speakers who are in the Hall of Fame. So for a man of your integrity, and I know, Eddie, you speak all over the world. You're one of the world's most sought-after professional speakers. So just to know that I was in your wheelhouse of someone who you feel could bring value to your multitude of followers and listeners. Thank you, Eddie, for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Vincent, and thank you to everyone who joined us. This has really been special. Thank you very much.
It's been an honor.
And thank you for listening. That concludes this episode, everyone. I'm Eddie Turner, the Leadership Accelerator, reminding you, as we discussed today, leadership is not about our position or our title. Leadership is action. Leadership is activity. It's not the case of once a leader, always a leader. It's not a garment we put on and take off. We must be a leader at our core and allow it to emanate in all we do. So whatever you're doing, always keep leading. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you for listening to your host, Eddie Turner, on the Keep Leading podcast. Please remember to subscribe to the Keep Leading podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen. For more information about Eddie Turner's work, please visit eddieturnerllc.com.
Thank you for listening to C-Suite Radio, turning the volume up on business.